Systematics is nothing but the study of different kinds of organisms, their diversity and the relationship between each other. Kingdom is the highest level of taxonomic hierarchy and species is the lowest level of taxonomic hierarchy. The taxonomy is the method of classifying or grouping organisms into different taxa or units of classification such as kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus and species. Hello everyone, a warm welcome to this session on First PUC Biology. I'm Dr. Divya, Biology Faculty, Vidhyaashram Pre-University College, Temple of Excellence, Mysore. So in this session, let us discuss about the chapter 1, that is Living World. Under this, we shall discuss about a small topic, that is classification of organisms, and under that, we shall look into what are the MCQs that come under this particular topic. So classification of the organism. How exactly the organisms are classified? We know that in this particular planet, there are billions to billions of organisms that are present. So if we don't group them, it is very difficult to understand about it or learn or remember these organisms, right? Like how in a country, the country is classified or it is divided, like we have a country, then comes the states, then next comes the districts and next comes the villages. So like that it is divided, right? So that easily we can understand about it. Likewise, the organisms which are billions to billions together in number are being classified into different groups based on their characteristics, either morphological or genetic characteristics and also phylogenetic characteristics. So what is classification? Classification is the grouping of organisms into different categories based on observable characters showing similarities, which means nothing but morphology. So when you look at an organism, you can say this is a dog, this is a cat, this is a lion. Or you take a cat family wherein the tiger, lion, cats, the panther, all that comes in. But when you look at it, you can say this is a cat, this is a tiger, this is a lion, this is a leopard, it's a cheetah, right? How can you differentiate between these organisms? It is because you know the characteristic, you're able to see that particular organism, right? So that is nothing but classification. So here the organisms are classified or categorized to conveniently study organisms, and that particular categorization is called as taxa. And the process of classification of organism into different taxa is called as taxonomy. So based on the morphological characters, we have categorized the organisms into different taxa. So taxa means it is the unit of classification, like we have kingdom is one unit of classification or kingdom is one taxa, species is one taxa. So we have kingdom, phylum, then comes order, then class, genus. So all that are the different taxas or units of classification. So we'll study about that in the coming slides. So the process of classification of an organism into different taxa or different units is called as taxonomy. Here taxonomy follows the basic process wherein how do you classify an organism? It is a step-by-step process. First you characterize them. So what is characterization? It is nothing but morphologically what all the similarities or dissimilarities the organisms have. Based on that, you classify, you group the organisms into different groups. So that is first characterization. Next, you go in for identification. Once you characterize, you identify that particular organism. Okay, to which group can you further categorize them into? Next is classification. You place them under different taxas. That is classification. Next, after that, finally, you go in for naming that particular organism, either based on the person who discovered that particular organism or based on the characteristic of that particular organism. So, taxonomy follows this basic step wherein characterization, identification, classification and finally nomenclature or naming is done. So, let's study about a small topic under taxonomy which is called as systematics. So, what is systematics? Systematics is nothing but the study of different kinds of organisms, their diversity and the relationship between each other. So there are thousands to thousands of organisms that are present. You study about them. After studying about them, you get to know their diversity and you get to know what is their phylogenetic relationship between each other. So that is nothing but systematics. It is the study of different kinds of organisms, their diversity and relationship. So this systematics word was derived from the Latin word meaning systema, and a book was written based on the different kinds of organism by Carolus Linnaeus, and it is called as Systema Naturae. So Linnaeus was the publisher of Systema Naturae book. So next, moving on to studying about taxonomic categories. So now you know what taxonomic categories are, right? They are nothing but the different taxas that are or units that are present in a taxonomy or present in a classification system. So different categories. So classification is nothing but it involves hierarchy, wherein if you can see here, kingdom has the highest rank. Kingdom has the highest rank. And the lowest unit of classification is species. Because why highest? Because kingdom is larger, right? Say for example, India is a kingdom. Then in that kingdom, there are next classification. That is, states are there. In that states, there are districts. In that districts, we have taluks. In that taluks, again, we have the panchayats, right? So like that, it gets classified from a huge, bigger thing, it gets classified into smaller units, right? That is why it is nothing but classification involves hierarchy, wherein you have rankings. Kingdom is the highest rank, next come the phylum, next class, order, family, genus, and the lowest rank or the last rank or unit of classification is the species. And each step represents rank or category. So each step of classification, you call it as a rank or a category. And overall taxonomic arrangement is called as taxonomic category. So the way you arrange it, either in an ascending order or in a descending order. So ascending order means from smaller to bigger. Descending order means from bigger to smaller, right? So in the exam, if they ask, classify the organism or write the taxonomic categories in ascending order, you will be writing it as from smaller to bigger, right? That is species, genus, family, order, class, phylum, kingdom is ascending. Descending means from bigger to smaller, wherein kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species is descending order. So that is how it is written. And all taxonomic category together form taxonomic hierarchy. So we have the units of classification, that is taxa. Each taxa represents or each steps represent a rank or taxonomic category, and the overall taxonomic arrangement is called as taxonomic category, and all the taxonomic category together they form a taxonomic hierarchy, that is either from lower to the highest rank or from the highest to the lowest rank. And each category is called as unit. I told you species is a unit, genus is a unit, family unit, order, class, phylum, kingdom, all these are units. And each unit you call it as a rank, and each rank is called as a taxon, and more than one taxon. So taxon is singular, taxa is plural. So taxa is plural. So now you know about the different taxonomic categories. So we'll study about each of these one by one. That is taxonomic hierarchy of the categories we'll study. So the highest level of classification is kingdom. So we will start from the kingdom. So kingdom is the highest level of classification. Here organisms that belong to different phyla are placed under the kingdom. So we have two kingdoms in large, that is kingdom Plantae, kingdom Monera. They are very large. They are the hugest. They are the biggest, right? So therefore, it is the highest level of classification. Next comes phylum. Phylum, if it is animals, when you're classifying an animal, you call it as a phylum. You write phylum. After kingdom, you write phylum. If you're classifying a plant, after kingdom, you'll write it as division. That is the only difference there. So phylum or division, it is more specific than kingdom, because here population of the organism will decrease. So that is why. And say for example here, if kingdom is Animalia, Then phylum consists of classes of animals, like phylum can be amphibians, reptilia, etc. And phylum chordata if they have notochord and dorsal neural system. So here, hope you have understood. So kingdom is Animalia. So say for example, if it is kingdom Animalia, then next division, that is next category. If it is phylum, then it can be either phylum, amphibians, reptiles, or you can call it as phylum chordata. Chordata means those which have a backbone can be put under phylum chordata. So it is more smaller than the kingdom. So after the phylum, here we have class. So all the related orders that are there, all the groups of animals that are related to each other, or all the related orders are placed under the class. So all related orders are placed under class. Say for example, we have monkey, gorilla and gibbon. They all belong to order Primata. Say for example, like we have kingdom will be Animalia, then the phylum will be Chordata, then the class here will be Primata. So you've understood, right? And humans especially will be placed under class Mammalia. So we have two classes, class Mammalia and class Primata. Next, moving on to order. So order is a more specific rank than class. It is the lowest classification than the class. So here families are assembled based on their similarities in characteristics. For example, I have given you based on floral characters, plant families like Convolvulaceae, Solanaceae are included under order Polymonales. So order Polymonales are a group of plant species wherein the flowers, say for example, under Solanaceae we have Solanum nigrum. If I take the example of Solanum nigrum or Solanum melongena for you to easily remember, Solanum melongena is nothing but it's brinjal. So Convolvulaceae, if you have seen a trumpet, so just like that the Convolvulaceae flowers also look like a trumpet. So here to look at the flower of Convolvulaceae it's different, and to look at the flower of Solanaceae both are different. They are entirely different to look at, but they have been put under the same order. Why is it so? Can you see here the family is different, but they have been put under the same order. Why? Because that is order Polymonales they have put it under. Why? Because when you look at the stamens of this particular flower, you can see that the stamens are fully attached, or they come attached along with the corolla. Because of that one characteristic which both the families like Convolvulaceae and Solanaceae have, that is why they have put it under order Polymonales. So next, talking about family. So family consists of a group of genera that share a few similarities. For example, families in the order Carnivore include Canidae and Felidae. So carnivores like order Carnivora. Once again, I'll just go in an order, giving you one particular example. Class kingdom Animalia, phylum Chordata, class Mammalia, order Carnivora, family Canidae or Felidae. If it is a cat or a dog, order Canidae or Felidae. So hope you have understood. Like that they go on making the group smaller and smaller based on similar characteristics. So family consists of a group of genera that share a few similarities, wherein they have put Canidae. All the dogs come under Canidae family. All the cats, that is even cats means the common house cat, domesticated cat, along with that tiger, lion, the cheetah, the leopard, the jaguar, the panther, all that come under Felidae only, because to look at they're similar to cats itself. So that is why they're similar to each other, but order is different. So that is how. So here order Carnivore, they come under Canidae and Felidae. So example that I have given. Next is genus. So genus is a group of species which show more characters in common. So here, for example, potato, that is Solanum tuberosum, and brinjal, Solanum melongena. So both are put under which genus? Solanum genus. So here we have Solanum tuberosum and Solanum melongena. Solanum tuberosum is potato. Solanum melongena is brinjal. Both are different to look at, but still they come under the same genus because they share some of the characteristics are similar in them. They are placed under the genus Solanum. Next, talking about species. So, species is the lowest level of taxonomic hierarchy. Kingdom is the highest level of taxonomic hierarchy and species is the lowest level of taxonomic hierarchy. Here, organisms are further distinguished based on their variations in morphological differences. They have given example here, Panthera leo and Panthera tigris. So, they come under the genus Panthera, but their species changes. So, if it is a lion, we write it as Panthera leo. If it is a tiger, we write it as Panthera tigris. So, now Panthera leo is just lion. Panthera tigris is just tiger. It has become even more smaller, right? Finally, we are talking about a lion, we are talking about a tiger separately. But when we talk about a kingdom, we talk about all the animals that come under the kingdom. So that is how classification is done. From kingdom Animalia or from kingdom Plantae, we go on classifying the organisms into smaller groups based on their morphological characteristics. So this was about the classification. So now, because we know about the different ranks or taxonomic categories, we shall move on to the MCQs that can be asked from this particular chapter, that is with a small topic, classification of organism. The first question, the process of grouping organisms into convenient categories is called, it is called classification because it's not identification. Identification means just you identify by looking at an organism. Nomenclature means naming. Binomial nomenclature means naming an organism using two components or two names. Classification is the right answer for this. Next is the scientific units or term used in classification or categorizing organism is taxa or taxon, species, genus, family. The scientific unit or term used in classification or categorizing organism is taxa. Why? Because species is a taxa, genus is a taxa, family is a taxa. So you can't write these answers. All these are taxa only. So taxa is the answer. So the process of classification of organisms into different taxa is called as taxonomy. So taxonomy is the method of classifying or grouping organisms into different taxa or units of classification such as kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus and species. So therefore the answer is taxonomy. Next, the current sequence of taxonomy is, so remember we had studied like what exactly is done in taxonomy, correct steps, what is there. So is it identification, characterization, classification or nomenclature? No. First you don't identify an organism. First we need to categorize it. So this is wrong. Characterization, identification, classification and nomenclature. So is this correct? We shall look into it. Classification, characterization, identification and nomenclature. Next is nomenclature, classification, identification and characterization. So here B is the correct answer because first we need to characterize them based on their morphological similarities. Then we need to identify them. Then we have to classify them, that is under different taxonomic hierarchies. And then we have to name them. So this is the right order. So therefore answer B is the correct answer. Option B is the correct answer. The branch of science which deals with the study of diversity and relationship between organisms is called as. So, the branch of science which deals with the study of diversity and relationship between organisms is called as systematics. It is not taxonomy. Taxonomy is nothing but giving or categorizing the organisms into different taxa or units of classification. Biology means wherein you study the different life forms, it is biology. Zoology means you study about animals, it is zoology. So here the correct answer is systematic. Next, Systema Naturae book is published by, who was the scientist who published or author of Systema Naturae. So this question was asked in March 2023 in the form of MCQ. So this is the important question. It is Carolus Linnaeus. So Carolus Linnaeus was the author of the book Systema Naturae. So next question, a group of individual organisms with fundamental similarities is called. It is called as species. Like we have Panthera leo, Panthera tigris, Panthera pardus. So all tigers are named as Panthera tigris. all lions are named as Panthera leo, all leopards are named as Panthera pardus. So therefore, here individual organisms with fundamental similarities, what are they called? It is nothing but species. So next, a group of related species having more characters in common in comparison to species of other genera. So we call it as genus. So genus is the right answer here. So a group of related genera with less similarities as compared to genus and species is. So the correct answer here is actually family. In the options it's not given, but the answer here is family. Next, the assemblage or grouping of families which exhibit a few similar characters. So it is nothing but order. So here, what is order? Order is nothing but a group of families which show similar characteristics. So related orders are grouped under the class. So what is class? It is a group of related orders. So the option here is class. Next, identify the correct sequence of taxonomical hierarchy. So this question was asked in February-March 2023. Again, so is it species, family, genus, class, order, phylum? So to know that, we'll just write the order here first. Kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. So if you are writing it, the correct sequence of taxonomical hierarchy, if you are writing it from ascending order, then from smaller to bigger. So we'll put an arrow mark like this, from smaller to bigger. So what is it? It should be species, genus, family, order, class, phylum, kingdom. So here, which is the correct answer? First should be, so we have species here, then we have genus, then family, order, class, phylum. This is correct because species, genus, family, order, phylum is wrong because before phylum, class should have come, or after order, class should have come. So this is also wrong. Here species, after species, genus should have come. So therefore it is wrong. Here also after species, genus should have come, but it is wrong. So therefore option D is the correct answer. Next, the correct biological name of man is. Now, if you remember in the previous session, we had learnt about binomial nomenclature, the rules, how to write a name, right? So, we have to guess here what is the correct one. Is this correct? No. Why? Because the genus should always start with a capital letter, but here it is starting with a small letter. Is this correct? No. Why? The genus should start with a capital letter and the specific epithet should start with a small letter, but here it is a capital letter. This is also wrong. And here, both the genus and the specific epithet, genus is correct, it is starting with a capital letter. But if you see here, the specific epithet is also starting with a capital letter, which is wrong because the specific epithet should start with a small letter. Next, talking about option D, here this is the right one. Why? Because you can see here, the genus starts with a capital letter, the specific epithet starts with a small letter, and they are written separately with a gap in between, and everything is correct here. It is in italics, everything is correct. And also here option A was and option C is not in italics, right? Or if it was not in italics also, either underlining should have been there like this, but that is also not there. So it is wrong. So therefore option D is the correct option. So this was about the session wherein we learnt what classification is and we learned the different units of classification, and also we studied some of the MCQs that come under this particular topic, that is classification of organisms. So I hope you understood this session. So with this session, the chapter, the living world, comes to an end. So we shall meet again in the coming session wherein we shall take up with a new chapter, that is biological classification. And we shall study some of the topics under that along with the MCQs in different sessions. So we shall meet again in the next session. Thank you.